Hello everyone, my name is Elle and welcome to a Pan That Palette update. So I am trying to completely finish the Master Palette by Mario. I have done a couple of updates so far. I've been working on this palette since approximately the beginning of the year. This is what my palette looked like during the last update, and this is what my palette looks like now. So as you can see, I've expanded a lot of pan, but I still haven't finished anything. I've just been having too much fun playing around with the different shadows as opposed to just focusing on one. If I had just focused on one shadow, I would definitely have had a couple finished by now. But it's just been enjoyable for me to play around with the shadows, and then I'm not bored. Maybe my progress looks a little bit different compared to some other people who may be panning, panning looks, meaning they're doing the same thing day in and day out. I don't want to do that. This is probably going to be my last year of fully panning a palette anyway. I've been doing it for so many years now. I need to take a break and just rotate through my shadows a little bit more, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot through Pan That Palette, and I feel like I'm not really accomplishing as much as I did at the beginning, because it was really a good learning exercise for me to get familiar with the kinds of finishes and formulas and just general shades that I liked using, and now I'm really comfortable with that. I really like using this palette. There's a few shadows in this palette that I really lean towards, and it's no surprise. The shadows that I really love in here are Fifth Avenue, Paris, and Marina. Now all of these shimmery metallic-y shades, I use them all wet with Fix Plus, so they look kind of gross in the pan, but they perform perfectly fine. I can use them dry if I want to for less intensity. I get asked this question all the time, if Fix Plus ruins the shadow. I have not had that experience yet. Everything has been fine for me, so I can put a little bit of Fix Plus in the pan. Like, I mean just a tiny drop, like as much as you would put in like an eyedropper or something, and to me it's the same thing as wetting your brush first and putting it into the pan. It seems to work better for me, and I get better control, and I like to use my shimmery shadows with Fix Plus because I really like that intense metallic finish, and then I don't have to build up and get a lot of fallout. I definitely get a lot of fallout with those shimmery shades when I use them dry, so using them wet really saves me a lot of hassle in the morning. So Marina, Paris, and Fifth Avenue are ones that I've been using the most. I've also used a little bit of some of the other shades. You can definitely see some more usage on Kim and Muse, a tiny bit more usage on Violetta. That's the brown shade here that I haven't hit pan on yet, and there's almost like a tiny sliver of pan in Claudia, but I haven't used Claudia that much. Claudia would be my least favorite shadow in this palette. I just don't tend to go for deeper blues. Funny enough though, I am wearing that shadow today. I always try and use the palette in some way when I do an update because I'm terrible at getting my day-to-day makeup, mostly because it's boring and I just don't have access to like my full setup first thing in the morning. I just don't have the time to set up all my lights to kind of get a decent photo. So I'm using Claudia on the outer portion of my eye, and then I have a green shadow and some green glitter just to mix it up a little bit because it's fun to play around with things that I wouldn't normally do day to day. My day-to-day makeup, I have like 1 or 2 examples of what I would normally do, and really the thing that I've been doing the most is using the matte shadows from the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. So there are some beautiful matte shades in here, and that's what I love mixing with this palette right now because the formula just works so well together. So my everyday shadow look takes no time at all. It's a combination of between 4 to 5 shadows depending on how fancy I'm feeling, including like a highlight shade. So I will take something like, for example, Nudist, this pale pink, and put it into my crease, and then maybe if I'm feeling extra and I want a little bit of a gradient, I will use Peach Puff as well. And then I would take something like Marina and put it all over my lid. And then in the outer corner, I would take something like either Violetta, the deep matte brown, or Muse, which is a shimmery red, just to emphasize a little bit it's really basic, and this is the kind of variation of look that I would do, just swapping out different shadows. So I really like Pastel Melon a lot from the Natasha Denona palette, so I will often put that in my crease and then pick one of these other shadows to go with it, and then take one of those like Marina Paris or Fifth Avenue shades on my lid, and then pick a color to give a little bit of extra definition, and it takes no time. And that's the most important thing for me in the morning when I'm getting ready, because usually I have about half an hour to get completely ready, and that's everything. The getting dressed and all that stuff, I have half an hour, so I have to be pretty quick, and I don't tend to have the time to go fully dramatic with my makeup. It's not that I wouldn't if I had the time. I work in a library. It's a pretty casual environment. Nobody has ever said anything negative about my makeup. I tend to lean more towards the cautious side, so I wouldn't wear something like this to work. It'd probably be a little bit too much, but I have no problem wearing color. I will incorporate colors with some of these other shadows. Like I really like Claudia, the deep blue with a purple crease, something like the purple in this palette, and I have no problem wearing something like that to work. It doesn't bother me. So most of the time though, it's the really simple bronzy, golden, champagne-y shades with just a little bit of extra something in the outer corner, usually some sort of reddish tone, because I really like that combination. And then I can switch around things like eyeliner. If I have a really basic neutral eye, I can always put a colorful eyeliner in my waterline if I feel like it, or swap up like a really colorful highlighter or a different sort of lipstick. Although I've been tending to lean more towards balms and glosses for my day-to-day work life, because it just seems to be easier that way. But that's about it. Not a whole lot of interesting things to report. This is a really pretty palette. I am glad I'm panning it though, because I've discovered things about it that I never would have otherwise, and just the mixing and matching it, like with the Natasha Denona, with some of the other things I have. Sometimes I might want to go a little bit more colorful, so I might reach for like the Viseart Editorial Brights palette, or like the Kat Von D Pastel Goth palette if I want something a little bit different. But really, I've been using the Natasha Denona most often because I just like the way that the formulas pair together. So that's really all I can say. I know these updates aren't terribly exciting. Mostly I just want to show you guys my progress and where I stand, and just sort of update you on what's going on. I've been meaning to do more looks with this palette. It keeps getting pushed for other things. I really want to do some looks with this palette though, especially before I finish those 3 shades that I really love. So let me know what kind of thing you guys would like to see. I've been trying to do more get ready with me's and more tutorial style videos because I really enjoy them. They just don't tend to be very popular, so I understand that not everybody wants to watch them. So if there's a particular look you would like to see me do, like I did have a couple of people want to see like my everyday sort of makeup routine, which would obviously include this palette. So if you'd like to see something like that, please let me know, and let me know what kind of format you would prefer, like a chatty get ready with me or a tutorial or whatever. I'm open to all kinds of suggestions. I don't mean to not do any of the things you request, by the way, because I'm always asking for your guys' opinions on what you would like to see from me, and I do take everything into consideration. Some things I attempt to do and just can't execute properly. Some things are just not within the scope of possibility. I have too many limitations. It's just not within my talent level or whatever, but just know that I really appreciate all the suggestions you give and everything that you would like to see. I do try and factor in some way. Hopefully it's satisfying you guys. I really don't know, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful anyway. Anyway, that is everything I have to say for my Pan That Palette update. Let me know if you are panning a palette this year and how it's going for you. Have you finished any shadows yet? Because if you have, you're in a much better place than I am. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.